This is the Hot 790 News.
Good evening. It is Thursday, January 11th, 2024. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We are on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna. Thank you so much for joining us. St. Lucians are poised to benefit from a policy decision to augment the personal income tax allowance. Among the changes announced by the Inland Revenue Department on Thursday is an increase in the personal allowance threshold from $18,000 to $25,000. Notably, the policy also introduces tax incentives for individuals actively engaging in the promotion of clean energy use. We hear more in this report from Eldris Charles.
The Inland Revenue Department has introduced new incentives to the personal income tax regime. Persons filing for income tax returns for the year 2023 will now benefit from a higher personal allowance threshold. The allowance has been increased from $18,000 to $25,000. Moreover, overall allowances and deductions will now be capped at $30,000, excluding personal allowances, medical expenses, and expenses relating to the purchase and installation of solar photovoltaic systems. The form for filing income tax returns has been augmented to reflect the new changes. While the front of the document remains the same, a section has been added to allow for the input of information regarding the new deductibles.
In essence, the return, the front of the return is the same. So when persons come in, they will have a look at the return. It is basically the same where you put in your personal information. The changes would be the $25,000, the change from the $18,000 to the $25,000. You will also have a cap on all of your allowances. So the allowances now, albeit your mortgage, your claim for your children, all the allowances that it will be highlighted in our tax facts and calculations booklet, would now be $30,000.
In addition, new tax bands have been introduced with new rates for chargeable income. Taxpayers will now find themselves in one of three categories of annual income earnings, namely $0 to $15,000, which will be charged at 15%, $15,000 to $30,000, which will now be charged at 20%, and over $30,000, which will incur a rate of 30%. These new tax classifications only apply to income that meets the threshold for taxation.
If you earn $50,000, yes, you earn $50,000 for the year. If your allowances are $30,000, you would subtract the $30,000, so your chargeable income is now $20,000, and that is where you start applying the rates. So you would first have to subtract all of the allowances and deductions, so the max of $30,000, and you also have your personal allowance of $25,000. So someone who earns $50,000, like I said in my example, at this point will actually pay no taxes.
Citizens are also encouraged to register to file their income taxes on the department's website at efiling.govt.lc. The Inland Revenue Department has also introduced an easy-to-use booklet labeled Tax Facts and Calculations, which outlines the changes in the personal income tax regime and how they can be applied. This booklet can be obtained from their offices or on their website. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Eldris Charles.
As part of the government's renewed focus on revamping the island's infrastructure, energy stakeholders gathered on Thursday for an update on the planned activities for the renewable energy sector development project. This initiative is a Government of St. Lucia undertaking aimed at informing stakeholders about the viability of the country's geothermal resource for power generation and will unfold over the next 6 months. Facilitators of the project are optimistic about the prospects for increased sustainability in the energy sector.
The concept of renewable energy has been an exciting prospect for stakeholders in St. Lucia as the world moves towards reduced reliance on fossil fuel-generated power. With escalating oil prices resulting from international conflicts, there has been increased pressure on the state to transition to eco-friendly methods of generating energy. This necessity may soon become a reality with the implementation of the Renewable Energy Sector Development Project. The project is a government-facilitated and a World Bank-funded initiative aimed at exploring the possibility of renewed resources on the island with a particular emphasis on geothermal energy. Accordingly, over a 6-month period, technicians will engage in the drilling of several geothermal wells in various communities. The areas scheduled for drilling include Fort-St-Jacques, Belle Plaine, and Saltibus. To inform stakeholders of the detailed plans for the project, officials from the Ministry of Infrastructure hosted the first of several consultations on January 11th.
Today we are holding an institutional stakeholder consultation. This is one of several rounds of consultations to bring stakeholders up to date with project activities. The Renewable Energy Sector Development Project has two primary objectives. The first one is to inform the government of St. Lucia on the capacity for use of geothermal energy for electricity production. So we are doing exploratory drilling in 3 communities, and we're trying to determine whether there exists capacity for generation of electricity from geothermal in St. Lucia. The second one is to establish the regulatory environment for private sector investment in renewable energy in St. Lucia.
Okay.
So we have several rounds of consultations this week and next week.
The project is being funded through grants and concessionary loans from the World Bank. However, the global financial institution is not solely focused on providing the country with the fiscal support to tackle the project, but is also dedicated to capacity building among locals. Speaking on how this aligns with the organization's mission, Nia Muki, a World Bank representative, noted that the goal of the financial institution is to help enhance the lives and livelihoods of individuals.
As you would have seen, the World Bank, of course, the mission statement is ending poverty and shared prosperity, and now that is also being expanded about all of this in a livable planet. So that comes hand in hand with our mission objectives, mission for the World Bank. So living in a sustainable environment and utilizing our resources in a way that both support our economy and the needs of the people.
Further details on the development of this project are expected in the near future. Reporting for our 7 TV News, I am Quinn Seji.
The Prime Minister has provided insight into the reason for stagnant gas prices despite the apparent price fluctuation in the price of oil on the world market. A modified market pass-through mechanism is used by the Ministry of Commerce to determine local fuel prices. But observers say the formula does not add up.
The island's Prime Minister and Minister for Finance has come under pressure to address stagnant gas prices despite fluctuations in the international oil prices. In comparison to what obtains regionally, fuel prices in St. Lucia are among the highest. A market pass-through pricing system was established to cap soaring fuel prices to protect consumers from the impact of rising costs. According to finance experts, the formula should determine fuel costs to reflect the fluctuations on the international market. However, consumers observe that while significant concessions are provided by the government on the price of LPG, there appears to be scant regard paid to the cost of gasoline and diesel. In explaining how the market pass formula is used, Prime Minister Philippe J. explains that the fuel costs cannot be viewed in isolation.
When gas was at $13, the subsidies on LPG was less than $10. It was 7 something and 8 something. The subsidies now on LPG sometimes goes as high as $30. So this is what you have to look at. You have to look at the holistic picture. So it's very simple. You can reduce the subsidies on LPG and convert that price and reduce the price on gas. Of course you can do that. Of course you can do that. But do you think that a single mother with 5 children will have to buy a tank of 20-pound LPG for $70?
Pierce says that while it is completely possible for government to make a concession redistribution on petroleum products, such a move will have too much of an adverse effect on the vulnerable. However, he stressed that these considerations will be taken as soon as feasible.
I can reduce the subsidies on LPG. Of course we can do it. But we believe that single mothers in particular and lower income households, we can't allow them to pay $70 for a tank, a 20-pound cylinder of gas. We can't. We are reviewing every day, and I can assure you, as soon as I believe and the cabinet concurs that there ought to be adjustments in the price of fuel, we will do it.
Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Quinn Tegis.
Still in the first segment of the broadcast, the POV. Our question to you is, how do you feel about the church's relaxed stance of same-sex relationships? Here is your point of view.
Ban that straight. You know what I'm saying? Because in the Bible, God made man and woman. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then you got these Catholic churches like allowing these things to go on. I think that's personally wrong. Do you know what I mean? You can't be doing one thing and try and preach another thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's no way in the Bible it says man and man, woman and woman should be together. That's my personal opinion. But everyone do their thing, but I ain't on that thing there.
I think it's against the whole biblical teachings when it comes to your faith, because I'm a Catholic and I don't support it.
It will be a good thing if they do that. You understand? It will be a good thing. That's how I feel. If you see they want to do that, that will be a good thing. That's the only thing I can say about it.
A human, they have their life to live. The church cannot judge them. It's that man that judging them. That's all. All of us have ours. Some of us don't want gays, but what we do undercover is just that.
Well, what I think is that I'm sticking to the Bible. It is written. The Lord never put Adam and Adam or Eve and Eve. It was a man and a woman. So I'm sticking to that. And one thing I can say is that the Catholic Church right now, they are just showing people exactly who they are. Simple as that. Because how come something God doesn't bless, how can a man bless it? Impossible. God says it's an abomination, and that's what it will remain. And the Pope cannot do nothing about it. You just have to accept the truth as it is. A man and a woman, no two men, two women, no. That's how God put it, that's how we have to follow with it.
Well, I support them same-sex thing at all. I never really support the Catholic Church because I think all them shit start there with them. So that's how I stand on that.
I know that people don't agree with that at all, but we're not governed by those people, so whoever's making the rules is going to just pass it down regardless. So, I mean, people can resist and fight back if we can come together enough to, say something, but eventually somebody will pass along and say something, and, what you're going to do, like somebody going to have to take a stance and say no, but it seems that that's the direction they were heading already, so can't really argue too much.
And it's supposed to be preaching against those things, so I don't get how a Christian church can be promoting or accepting same-sex marriage. I mean, it's against the Bible and against any Christian belief. So I don't really understand why or how. And then again, everybody know how the Catholic Church is. I mean, that's a Catholic Church. That's normal for them.
Don't forget to head over to our Facebook and Instagram pages at Caribbean Hot 7 TV to share your thoughts with us. Coming up next, the Forensic Lab moves to increase capacity by empowering investigators. And the Early Childhood Development Unit launches its parenting support program to help parents strengthen their bond with children. Stay with us for the details to these stories and so much more when the broadcast returns after this.